Ovaj program donosi Vulkal, najbolja formula za gume.
Today saw a race for both NASCAR Pro and NASCAR 2, as well as the qualifying sessions as well. And today, the final race of the weekend is, of course, for EuroNASCAR Pro. 17 laps of action on the way, which is around about 70.86 kilometres worth of track to be completed. So we've got lots to look forward to as the day wears on. Like I say, we are here at Grobnik. This is quite a unique circuit. 4.16 kilometres, or just under 2.6 miles. So, yeah, a fairly unique circuit, very fast, not many overtaking opportunities. Ones of note for me personally, I think, will be the run-up towards turns 1 and 2. Very, very difficult braking zone. We saw Jacques Villeneuve get caught out there on yesterday while in qualifying, and then in towards turn 15 as well. Very heavy braking zone in towards one of the final corners here at Grobnik. So you've got to be really careful on the brakes not to lock up, and if you manage to make it work, it will set you up quite nicely for the start-finish straight on the way. And of course, Grobnik, it's one of those circuits that you might not have heard of, so it hasn't really got the publicity that it truly deserves. A very tricky circuit, lots of undulation change, lots of camber, everything like that, lots to deal with. It's been around since the mid-1970s. It's hosted, obviously, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, MotoGP, the Sidecar World Championship, FIA Central European Formula 3, and TCR DSG as well. They are here this weekend in support. So it's been a very busy weekend indeed. Like I previously mentioned, we had 4 practice sessions on Friday, 2 for EuroNASCAR Pro, 2 for EuroNASCAR 2. And then on Saturday, we had 2 further sessions, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. They had their qualifying sessions, both 30-minute sessions. And then on Saturday, of course, yesterday, we had EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. They both had their first races, a 14 and a 17 lap race. And we've already had the first on-track action from EuroNASCAR today. The EuroNASCAR 2 second race of the weekend. That was their 8th round of the championship, 14 laps completed. So a very good race indeed. That was in which we saw Tobias Dauenhauer once again take to the top step of the podium. I do think potentially we have the point attribution panel as well. So, of course, championship points is something to think about. So the drivers need to make sure that they can finish well into the points to focus on their championship regulations. So if you finish first, you get 40 points. Second, you get 31st, third, 34th, and all the way down until 36th, where that is the final point scoring position. You do get 4 bonus points for the most positions gained, so lots of points available to you if you want them. Even if you don't get that far up in qualifying, you do indeed have those extra points available to you. What happened yesterday? If you weren't here, first of all, where were you? It was a brilliant day of action. I do think we have some highlight clips as well for all of the action yesterday. So hopefully we can get that with you. Here we go. So that concludes all of the highlights from this weekend. It was a very, very good weekend so far, and yet more action on the way. We do have an interview with Loris Hazemans down on the grid.
I'm here with Loris Hazemans. Saturday's race, you had the best lap, so pole position again.
Yeah, definitely very happy with the results. I think it's pole position number 5 or 6 of the season, so really happy with how it's going. Had a good race yesterday. We were really good on pace. We tweaked the car a little bit more, so I think we can actually be faster today. But let's see, it's racing. Things are always changing, so we just try to make the best out of it.
Yesterday, Gianmarco beat you before the first turn, then he got penalized. So what are you going to prevent him from overtaking you again?
I mean, I think for me it's also racing smart. The important thing is also I have to obviously think about scoring as many points as possible. So obviously I want to win, but sometimes if there's no other option, you have to finish P2, take the points that you have and try to do the best. But we're definitely going to try to go for the win today.
All right, thank you so much. Dankjewel, Loris Hazemans.
Thank you very much, Andre, down on the grid. A quick word with Andre and with Loris, pardon me. So down on the grid, getting ready for what will be a 17-lap sprint race in theory. So lots of action on the way. We've got a very big grid as well. So a lot of the cars you may have seen out in EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro. If you are new to the series, there are 2 different classes, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2, as I previously mentioned. EuroNASCAR Pro for the drivers more familiar to motorsport, and EuroNASCAR 2 for the slightly newer drivers. And before I can go any further, we do have another interview. Back down to Andre.
The next one we have here is Vittorio Ghirelli. Strange position, but let's try it here. So you're starting from the second row. What's your plan for today?
Yeah, I mean, my plan is to go up front. I know I have the pace to be in the front, and it will be a battle, like always. I hope to give good show for the fans. Yesterday we struggled with balance a bit, but still took home some silverware with a P2, and let's go for it today. It will be fun for sure.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille.
Another great interview down on the grid. Thank you very much, Andre. So we've got lots of action on the way, like I say, and there are the 2 separate classes, the EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. Both run exactly the same car. All the cars on the grid are exactly the same, funnily enough. Just the mechanicals are the same. It's the outer body shell, which is slightly different, obviously, to depict various different cars. But the same car can run in both EuroNASCAR 2, EuroNASCAR Pro, and indeed the Club Challenge that takes place on Fridays. They had 3 sessions on Friday, all 30-minute sessions. And a lot of the drivers can race in Club Challenge and EuroNASCAR Pro, Club Challenge and EuroNASCAR 2. And if they so desire, I think we've got one of the drivers out this weekend, which is doing EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro as well. So there's lots of opportunities for the drivers to get out on circuit. You can see the grid is a very busy place. I'm sure we'll end up with a couple more interviews as Andre works his way further down the grid and more drivers make themselves available for an interview. Drivers of note for this one, Loris Hazemans, of course, keep an eye on him. He's been incredibly successful so far this season. So have Hendricks Motorsport, leading the team's championship, and they've had 3 wins so far this weekend. So we've got to keep an eye out for as well. Alan Day, somewhat out of position, the 3-time champion. Keep an eye out for him. He might be carving his way back up through the order, and we could see a good finish from him. And Gianmarco Ercoli, the 2019 champion. Keep an eye out for him in the bright yellow number 54 Cal Racing Chevrolet Camaro. Very quick driver, so keep an eye out for him as well. We do have another interview down on the grid, so back down to you, Andre.
I'm here with Jacques Villeneuve, driving the number 5 of Academy Motorsports, Alex Caffey Motorsports. Yesterday you scored a podium. What is your expectation for today?
I don't know. Let's hope the weather stays because it's getting very dark. The car was quick but a little bit difficult to drive. Hopefully we fix it for today so we can be a little bit more of a fight at the front.
Automotodrom Grobnik, a track I think nobody knows or a few people knows. What is your how do you like the track?
Oh, it's a lot of fun to drive. I like the course. It's got good rhythm. I had tried it on some simulators, but like 10 years ago on the R Factor, and I thought, hey, one day I would like to drive that track. So I'm happy that I could drive it for real.
All right, thank you so much, and have a good race.
Thank you.
So a quick word there with Jacques Villeneuve. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on as well. He got caught out in qualifying, braking into turns 1 and 2. That was on Saturday morning, but hopefully he's got everything squared away and ready for the final race of the weekend here at Croatia. He's racing, like Andre said, in the number 5 Academy Motorsport, Alex Caffey Motorsport machine, so keep an eye out for him. There's a few drivers that maybe deserved a slightly better a slightly better day yesterday. Let's hope their fortunes can change for the final race of the weekend. Back down to the grid with another interview.
Luca Lasser, one of the true NASCAR Whelen Euro Series veterans in this series. How did the weekend go for you so far, and what are you expecting for this race?
First of all, I'm not veteran. I'm totally young, you know. So now it's clear. No, I will see. You know, I start eight. So my race pace is very, very fast. I'm very strong. So I mean, and I hope to be back with Jack as yesterday. My warm up was always good and as most. So I mean, and I hope to be back to the front and to have a good result. So we have pace since Valencia, the beginning of the season. We had some engine trouble, and I mean we found that this night. So I cross the finger and we'll see. You know?
Merci beaucoup.
Quick word there with Lucas Lasser on the grid, driver of the number 64 Speedhouse Ford Mustang. I think other drivers to look out for in this race: Vittorio Garelli, keep an eye out for him in the number 50 Hendricks Motorsport machine. That car's been very quick all weekend. Of course, Vittorio Garelli shares that number 50 machine with Tobias Downhauer. And Ulysse Delso, not the best race yesterday, but hopefully his fortunes can change ahead of the 8th race so far this season for the EuroNASCAR Pro Series. So keep an eye out for those drivers. I think potentially we could see a few more drivers working their way up through the order that potentially we don't usually see. Nicola Rocca, we've just seen him down on the grid, a very quick driver. And something for not only the drivers to bear in mind, but the teams as well. You can see that cloud is getting thicker and thicker. So let's hope that we don't get any rain, but you never know. Back down to the grid with another interview.
Mark, the 77 car was quite strong in both championships this weekend in the top 10. So what are your expectations for this race?
Well, I have to say that in the beginning, practice and qualifying wasn't the greatest, but I think we made a good change in setup for the first race, and I think it showed also when Jill was out in the Elite or EuroNASCAR 2 race. Now for this one, I'm first of all looking at the clouds because it might start to rain in a little bit. I'm kind of hoping for it because when it rains, I'm coming to life a little bit more myself.
Yeah, you were very good in the rain at Autodrom Most, so when the rain's coming, that is your world, right?
Yeah, I think in Most it was more the timing of when to come in and change tires more than anything else. I think that was down to experience. Here it's going to be a little bit different when it starts raining. I think everybody's going to come in at the same time to change tires. So, but still, I think we can be slightly more competitive in the wet than in the dry. But, you know, everything's depending on what happens in the first corner, so we'll have to wait and see.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Quick word there from Mark Goosens, driver of the number 77 DF1 Racing Chevrolet Camaro. Looking forward to the rain if it does come. We did mention that cloud cover is getting thicker and thicker. It's been becoming more and more overcast throughout the day. There was, before the NASCARs took to the grid, there was a 2-hour TCR DSG Europe race in which we saw little spits of rain. The cloud began to form and then the sun burnt through it and then the cloud began to form again, and it was constantly changing throughout the course of the race. So potentially we could have a little bit more of that in the 17-minute sprint, or the 17-lap sprint that we have on the way in just over 10 minutes time. So the drivers sat waiting patiently on the grid, teams making sure the cars are all ready and set to go. And it's nice to hear from Mark Goosens, obviously saying that strategy might be brought into play. It's all down to when you decide to pull into the pit lane and get those wet tyres put on. Of course, we're mentioning tyres. Hoosier Racing Tyres are, of course, the official tyre supplier of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Whelen being the main sponsor, so a massive thank you to those as well as TJ, which supply quite a nice titanium ring for the best EuroNASCAR Pro driver, as well as the beautiful trophies that we have seen throughout the weekend. And Ken Holt, the oil partner of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and a special partnership for the Croatian round here at Grobnik is Liburnia Hotel and Villa. So a massive thank you to all of the sponsors and partners that make it possible to continue racing with this series. The drivers and the teams getting ready for the national anthems to be played in a few minutes time. So as and when that comes around, obviously we'll leave you in peace to enjoy those national anthems. The crowds have been building up throughout the weekend, and more people have been coming along to enjoy the brilliant action we've got on show here at Automotodrom Grobnik. You can see there Loris Hazeman's waiting patiently on pole position with John Marco Ercoli, the 2019 champion, just sat alongside. So hopefully in a few moments' time the national anthems will get underway, and then we are only then getting closer and closer to the start of the final race of this weekend. So just waiting for the national anthems to get underway. The grid still slowly emptying away as various team members disperse themselves in towards the pit lane after the national anthems have been played and the klaxon has sounded. Once all the teams have vacated from the grid, the command will be given and the drivers will be getting ready for the final race of this weekend here at Croatia. Of course, the Croatian Grand Prix for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Still lots to look forward to, lots of action on the way, and 17 laps further for these drivers to complete around what is quite a tricky Grobnik circuit. We were speaking to Alan Day on Friday. He was saying the lines are so unique because the line in the dry is exactly the same as the line in the wet, whereas usually if it's a wet track you tend to take the wider line in, use the unrubbered line and find a bit more grip on the outside. But here in Croatia you use all of the track all of the time, brake at the same point, turn in at the same point. A very unique racing circuit. All that to look forward to, potentially if it rains as well. So lots of little facts for the drivers to consider and think about before they enter this race. In a few moments' time we should have the national anthems underway, and then the teams will do their final checks, disperse from the grid, command will be given, and the safety car will lead the drivers around on their formation lap, getting ready for a double file start. So they'll be side by side, nose to tail, from the final corner, getting ready to get underway here at Grobnik for the final time this weekend, round 8 of the EuroNASCAR Pro NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Here are the national anthems. So the American national anthem followed by the Croatian national anthem for the final time this weekend. The teams are now free to do their final checks on the cars, and the drivers can get their helmet, hands device on, and make sure they can clamber into their cockpits ready ahead of the final race here this weekend. In a few moments' time, the command will be given. They tend to do it a minute before we are expecting them, so we've got around about 2 minutes, I think, until the command will be given for the drivers to start their engines. Of course, the infamous words, famous for NASCAR all around the world, and we will have that in just a few moments' time as well. The Porsche 922 safety car sat waiting patiently at the front of the grid. There is Loris Hasemans getting kitted up, got his helmet on, hands device worn as well. The klaxon sounds, which means any unnecessary crew and anybody else needs to vacate the grid. 3 minutes is the sign. In a few moments' time, everybody will be all kitted up and ready to go racing here for the final time this weekend. And we've got lots to look forward to. 17 laps of action on the way. Loris Hasemans clambers into his car, gets ready to get going. There is Alan Day, sat alongside his Carl Racing Chevrolet Camaro, of course sponsored by Monster Energy, one of the most visible cars on the grid. So clambers into his car, gets a quick help from his crew member, and the Israeli is ready to go racing. So 2 minutes until the command, and you can see the crews and team members dispersing off the grid, making sure we are ready to safely go motor racing. Of course, a massive thank you to our incredibly efficient circuit staff, series staff and marshals as well for allowing us to go motor racing. We wouldn't be able to do it without you, so a massive thank you to those guys as well. And in a few moments' time, you can see the grid has massively shallowed out. Not many crew left to vacate the grid anymore. All the drivers strapped in, safety netting going on, Gian-Marco Ercoli's car, and then very shortly we will be racing. You can see Giorgio Maggi to the bottom left-hand side of the screen now, and now we do have the command indeed.
Drivers, start your engines!
So, as all 5.7 litres of V8 starts up and down the grid, we are getting ever closer to going racing here at Croatia for the final race this weekend. The 1 minute board is held aloft, and in just a few moments' time, the drivers will be led away onto their formation lap. There is, I believe, Gian-Marco Ercoli sat alongside. Yes, it is. Gian-Marco Ercoli sat alongside Loris Hasemans on the front row of the grid. The final few team members just working their way off the grid. Marshall's guiding them to do so. And hopefully we will be racing in just a few moments' time. The 30-second board held aloft, and the final few team members work their way off the grid. We've got a team member just towards the tail end of the grid, so hopefully that isn't an issue with the car. There they go. It looks like potentially they've got it fixed. A lot of attention towards that car. And there we go. So final few checks done, making sure the car is ready to go racing. And everybody is off the grid. Just got to wait for that Porsche 922 safety car to pull away. As soon as we head up on the formation lap, we will get the grid to you. And then the final race of this weekend will be underway. The Porsche safety car is rolling. Loris Hasemans and Gian-Marco Ercoli lead the field away. And the grid is as follows. Loris Hasemans lines up on pole position with Gian-Marco Ercoli alongside, followed by Alan Day and Vittorio Pirelli in fourth. Then we have Giorgio Maggi and Jacques Villeneuve starting on row 3 of the grid, followed then by Mark Goossens and Lucas Lasser in 8th. Then we have Nicola Rocca in his DF1 Racing Chevrolet Camaro alongside Francesco Cini. Then we have Roman Inetta, followed by Patrick Lemaire. Davide Dallara lines up in 13th alongside Ulysse Delso. Then we have Sebastian Bleekemolen alongside Henry Tumala. In 17th and 18th, it's Leonardo Colavita with Fabrizio Ametta alongside. And Dario Casso has Nikola Koboski for company on row 10 of the grid. Followed by Yevgen Sokolovsky and Federico Monti. The final row of the grid is made up by Bernardo Manfrey in his 42 Racing Shadow DNM8 in 23rd place. So 23 cars ready to go racing, riding on board with the number 22 of Nicola Rocco, getting ready to go racing here at Grobnik. All the drivers weaving from left to right and heavy into the corners, get some temperature into the brakes, to the tyres, making sure that they are within their optimal racing window. Get all the performance you can out of these cars. A 17 lap action packed sprint along the way, And into turn 1, who's it going to be? Loris Hasemans or Gianmarco Ercoli? All will be revealed by the time we get round to it. So we just have to wait now for everybody to work their way through the middle sector on towards the tail end of the grid. And then in just a few moments' time, we will be going racing here for the final time this weekend. The NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia will be getting underway. So through turn 15 we go, in towards turn 16. The Porsche 922 safety car will peel off towards the right-hand side, head in towards the pit lane in just a few moments' time, and then we will be able to go racing. Loris Hasemans will lead the field. There goes the safety car in towards the pit lane. And the final race of the weekend, round 8 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, the 8th race for EuroNASCAR Pro here from Grobnik is underway now. It's a good start by the look of it from Loris Hasemans. He might just be able to hold on to that lead in towards turn 1. Gianmarco Ercoli alongside. He's trying to go all the way around the outside. Alan Day is in 3rd place, looking to make that second now with a big oversteery moment, though can't quite get the moment collected up. He's under pressure from losing a place now to Jacques Villeneuve, who's being squeezed towards the apex by, I think that was Vittorio Garelli on the inside. Then Dario Casso looking to make a move up through the order, but there is Loris Hasemans still leading the way ahead of Gianmarco Ercoli. Alan Day does manage to hold on to 3rd place. We're side by side in the background, almost 3 wide. I saw Sebastian Bleekemolen in that little battle there. Right the way back then to Thomas Krasanas, the number 2 machine, but there is Alan Day, currently sat there in 3rd place, looking to work his way back forward, trying to put on the pressure he can onto the 2019 champion in front. Then just a little bit further back, you can still see Jacques Villeneuve trying to work his way forward, trying to get past Vittorio Garelli. They're still nose to tail for the most part through the middle sector. Over turn 14 we go, down then in towards turn 15, a very heavy braking zone. Are we going to see any position changes here? It's a good overtaking opportunity on the brakes as early as you, or as late as you dare. You can see Gianmarco Ercoli once again very confident on the brakes into turn 15. We've seen that throughout the entire weekend. Alan Day really deciding whether he wants to go forward or back at this point. He's got to be careful not to lose too much time to Vittorio Garelli behind, who does have Jacques Villeneuve just sat behind himself. Then everybody else files their way across the line for the first time. So it is Loris Hasemans leading the way. Good start from Loris Hasemans. Still with Vittorio Garelli just sat behind, pushing him forward. Then it's Alan Day. Alan Day in 3rd, pardon me. Vittorio Garelli now in the background as well, under pressure from Jacques Villeneuve. Round the outside goes Gianmarco Ercoli, somehow manages to find the grip on the outside. Loris Hasemans being forced towards the apex. Once again, he loses a little bit of time. Alan Day looking to make it 2nd place, all the way around the outside. It evolves to the inside for turn 6. And Alan Day still side by side with Loris Hasemans. Gianmarco Ercoli somehow managing to work it round. Good stuff so far. Still side by side between Day and Hasemans. Through the left-hander we go, on towards the dirty surface goes Hasemans, a massive bit of oversteer, does collect it up with a bit more opposite lock, and then all through the gravel goes Hasemans. I think that will be all the dirt on his tyres, and he drops right the way back down towards even the edge of the top 10. There is now Jacques Villeneuve, potentially losing a place to Lucas Lasserre. Yes, it is Lucas Lasserre up another place now. And, well, I quickly catch my breath. It is now Gianmarco Ercoli in the lead, with Alan Day in 2nd place. Vittorio Garelli, I think, lost a place there to Lucas Lasserre and Jacques Villeneuve. So yes, Lucas Lasserre down now. Jacques Villeneuve up the inside of Lucas Lasserre later on the brakes, manages to squeeze up the inside, but the cutback goes the way of Lucas Lasserre. There's almost a bit of contact between the pair of them. So Jacques Villeneuve, I think, up into 3rd place now. Lucas Lasserre sat there in 4th. It's all go in the background. Loris Hasemans trying to carve his way back up through the order. He made contact potentially with Ulysse Delceau. But across the line for the 2nd time now. Jacques Villeneuve still under pressure from Lucas Lasserre behind. Then we get back to Vittorio Garelli in the number 50 Hendricks Motorsport Ford Mustang. Still all nose to tail. So it is indeed Gianmarco Ercoli leading the way. Fastest lap of the race for him. Then it's Alan Day, Jacques Villeneuve, Lucas Lasserre, Vittorio Garelli, Francesco Cini up into 6th place. Mark Goosens in 7th. Loris Hasemans crossed the line in 8th place. So lots of work to do if he wants to get back up towards the podium places. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen now whereabouts everybody works their way into the order. So at the moment we are looking at the battle for the final step on the podium. Jacques Villeneuve in 3rd place. We'll get a replay of this now. So Loris Hasemans all over the gravel, all over the grass. I think that was after Alan Day didn't really force him out wide, just showed him towards the exit of the circuit, and that got his tyres dirty, then didn't have the grip for the next corner and couldn't really adapt for it in time, ended up rattling through the gravel and losing a handful of places. So Jacques Villeneuve in third place, Lucas Lasserre all over his tail trying to steal the final step of the podium away, and there is the number 18 machine. That is Giorgio Maggi with a fair bit of damage on the front of that car. That car looks like it's destined for retirement. Not 100% sure whereabouts on the circuit that was, but that Ford Mustang won't be taking any further part in this race. You can still see Jacques Villeneuve under ever-increasing pressure from Lucas Lasserre behind. Vittorio Gorelli just sat waiting in the wings. And you can see Mark Goossens under pressure from Loris Hazemans. Loris trying his best to work his way back up through the order. That is the lead gap. Gianmarco Ercole and Alan Day last time through 8 tenths apart. They break the timing barrier now. 4 tenths apart is the gap between the pair of them. So very little to pick between them. Jacques Villeneuve still under that pressure from Lucas Lasserre behind. Vittorio Gorelli all over the tail end of Lucas in front. And Loris Hazemans up into 7th place now, trying to work his way past Francesco Cini in the background. Still just about managing to hold on to that place is Francesco. Back up to this lead battle, however. 4 tenths separated them as they crossed the line. There is Jacques Villeneuve still with Lucas Lasserre all over his tail. Then followed by Vittorio Gorelli. Loris Hazemans squeezing his way up the inside of Francesco Cini. Might have just managed to make it work there. We'll see next time they come within camera shot. There is Alan Day still pushing on, trying to take the lead away from Gianmarco Ercole. Very equidistantly spread now, so there is then the battle for the final step on the podium. Loris Hazemans has managed to work his way past Francesco Cini, so up into 6th place now is Loris Hazemans, and he has clean air all the way until the tail end of Vittorio Gorelli just up the road, followed then by Lucas Lasserre, and Jacques Villeneuve has managed to build up a little bit of a gap, just enough, so he shouldn't have to defend. There is very lonely Giorgio Maggi, sat on the side of the circuit, clearly very frustrated that his race has come to an end. Back to this battle, Jacques Villeneuve still holding on to 3rd place. Vittorio Gorelli just sat behind. Lucas Lasserre, the meat in the sandwich there. And Alan Day, once again, much closer, riding on board with Nicola Rocca in the number 22 machine. Still pushing forward in the mid-pack. Crossed the line this time. 4 tenths was the gap on lap 3 of the race. Lap 4 of the race is now under 3 tenths of a second. There is a 10-second time penalty for the number 17 machine. That's Mr. Manfrey. I'll try and... it's Bernardo Manfrey. He does have a 10-second time penalty for a starting procedure infringement, potentially somewhat out of place on the grid. But now you can see Alan Day all over the tail end of Gianmarco Ercole, really pushing forward now into turn 6 we go, 2 different lines through there. Looks like Alan Day is looking for the later apex in that number 88 machine. He does manage to get that, but can't quite get the slingshot off the corner that he would quite like. Jacques Villeneuve still holding on to 3rd place ahead of Lucas Lasserre and Vittorio Gorelli. Loris Hazemans making amends for the previous incident, trying to work his way back in towards that top 5 and potentially a podium come the end of the race. Only 4 laps of the race completed, and it's been battling from the first corner. Alan Day still pushing forward, trying to force Gianmarco Ercole into a mistake. We saw it yesterday. Loris Hazemans trying to force Gianmarco into a mistake as well. It never really came. And you can see that gap that Loris Hazemans has got now. Alan Day looking to the inside, then over to the outside of Gianmarco Ercole. You're going to have to be very late on the brakes around there. He might be able to pick up the late apex at turn 15. He does try it, can't quite grab it as of yet. But heading on towards the start-finish straight, he might continue some good momentum on the run-up towards turns 1 and 2. Very equidistantly spread once again. I'd say it's around about 3-4 tenths of a second when they cross the line. Probably even less than that now, because he's got all that draft assistance as they cross the line. He looks to the right-hand side of the circuit, going the long way around in towards turn 2. Can't quite get the move done as of yet, but he's definitely showing his intentions. All of this battling is only going to lose them time to the trio behind. It's very quickly becoming a quartet, because Jacques Villeneuve and Lucas Lasserre still battling away. Vittorio Gorelli just about there, and Loris Hazemans is only closing that gap as well, because he's managed to leave Francesco Cini in the dust behind him. So still moving forward now. Davide De Lara and Henry Tumala having a great battle in the mid-pack as well. Back up to the front is Gianmarco Ercole. Hazemans with the fastest lap of the race last time through, a 1 minute 29.500. So in a clean air, he really does have the pace over the rest of the field. But Gianmarco Ercole still under pressure from the number 88 of Alan Day as they head through what is now turns 9, 10 and 11 before they find themselves on that back straight once again. It's Alan Day all over the tail end of that number 54 Cal Racing Camaro. So through 13 they go, over turn 14 and then down the back straight once again. We saw Alan Day have a nibble last time through. Now you can see how close Loris Hazemans is getting to that trio. You can see Alan Day much quicker in a straight line, but can't quite get it done on the brakes. Decides to not compromise his corner. Takes the usual line through there and see what he can do about making a move in towards turn 1. Jack Villeneuve still under pressure from Lucas Lasser. And Vittorio Garelli in 5th place. Loris Hazelman's just reeling that trio in. The gap between the leaders has definitely opened up. I'd say probably around about 0.3 of a second by the time they've crossed the line. They crossed the line now, and it remains as is. I'll wait for the timing to update, but they're still nose to tail, Jean-Marc Oekerle and Alan Day, and there is the train of Jack Villeneuve, Lucas Lasser and Vittorio Garelli. Loris Hazelman, you can see how close he's getting in the back of shot there. Lucas Lasser, he's got the tricky job here because he wants to focus forward and try and get that position away, of course get on the podium ahead of Jack Villeneuve. However, he doesn't want to forget about that rearview mirror because Vittorio Garelli is there to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. Loris Hazelman's really starting to reel them in now, so it could be 4 cars all vying for the final spot on the podium. In the background, you can see Francesco Cini and Mark Goosens both nose to tail. Nicola Rocco looking to pick up the pieces of that battle as well, because Rocco's been really quick throughout the weekend. Loris Hazelman still reeling in that trio. Jean-Marc Oekerle and Alan Day around about 0.3 apart last time they crossed the line. The gap has remained pretty similar. All this battling, I think, has made them realise they are losing a lot of time because Jack Villeneuve is just sat behind them now. Alan Day will have a really clear view in his rearview mirror of how quick Jack Villeneuve is, being ushered forward by Lucas Lasser. Once again going into turn 15, Alan Day much closer than we've seen him before. Looked to the inside, looked then back to the outside. Couldn't quite get the move done, but he is still pushing forward, desperate to get that move made. Lucas Lasser desperate to get past Jack Villeneuve as well, because the last thing he wants is to get distracted, and Vittorio Garelli to pick him up as well, because Loris Hazelman is just sat behind. You can see how close he is now, crossing the line once again, heading on to lap number 7 of the race. Jean-Marc Oekerle still leading, Alan Day just sat behind, not too much to pick between the pair of them. Jack Villeneuve, Lucas Lasser and Vittorio Garelli, as per usual, all nose to tail. Loris Hazelman's definitely getting closer as well, looking to get back in towards that top 5 after starting on pole position. Fastest lap of the race yesterday as well, of course. All of the circuit being used by Alan Day. Looks to the inside and then back to the outside again on the run up towards turn 6. Can't quite find the real estate that he wants. And he's going to go for the late apex. It's now pretty much 5 cars for the lead because Jean-Marc Oekerle and Alan Day have been battling so hard. They now have Jack Villeneuve, Lucas Lasser and Vittorio Garelli all stacked behind them. Loris Hazelman is pretty much there as well. So 6 cars all battling away for the top step of the podium, and it's in between Alan Day and Jack Villeneuve to decide what they want to do about working their way forward to try and catch Jean-Marc Oekerle once again, because he's slowly starting to pull away. Lucas Lasser struggling to keep touch with Jack Villeneuve. Vittorio Garelli still sat there in 5th place. He's more or less just been watching this battle unfold in front of him. Loris Hazelman's he's really started to open the tabs, still pushing forward, still got the fastest lap of the race, and he's lapping incredibly consistently as well. The only driver at the moment lapping in the 1:29s. Last time through, a 1:29.557. So he's really got the pace. Jack Villeneuve looking to the outside of Alan Day. Alan Day looked to the inside of the number 54 and compromise Alan Day just enough there. Jack Villeneuve pushes him towards the outside of the circuit, and he's going to lose 2 here, 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. So Jack Villeneuve edged his way up the inside of Alan Day. Lucas Lasser went through the same gap, and Alan Day under pressure from losing another place here, because it looks like Vittorio Garelli potentially going round the outside. He's having a little look. It will become the inside for turn 2. Is he going to get it slowed down? Yes, he is. Alan Day from 3rd to what is 5th in the space of a couple of corners, and now Loris Hazelman's is all over the tail as well. So it's gone from bad to worse really for Alan Day. Jean-Marc Oekerle's laughing right up at the front end of affairs. He's really couldn't care what's going on in his rearview mirror. He's just driving forward. Jack Villeneuve still in 2nd place now. Lucas Lasser up to 3rd. Alan Day down towards his 5th because Vittorio Garelli is now there, and it could be 6th for Alan Day because Loris Hazelman's is trying to squeeze him up through the inside. It happened a few laps ago to him. He's pretty much doing exactly the same to Alan Day now, and he has managed to get in front. That is Loris Hazelman's up into 5th place. Alan Day down into 6th. Having spent most of the race in 2nd place, Alan Day has got all the work to do once again. Jean-Marc Oekerle still leading the way. Look, Jack Villeneuve in 2nd, Lucas Lasser in 3rd place. Then it's Vittorio Garelli, Loris Hazelman's, and then back to Alan Day in 6th. Francesco Cini and Mark Goosens battling away. Nicola Rocca, I think, is in on that one as well. So too is Patrick Lamarck, as well as Roman Inetta, all nose to tail. Then we get a bit of a break back to Sebastian Vlieki-Molen. But this lead battle is still hotting up. Still Jean-Marc Oekerle. Just this time, it's Jack Villeneuve's go to take the lead away. Lucas Lasser still following on, but with Vittorio Garelli breathing down his neck. Loris Hazelman's in 5th place. Alan Day falling away from that lead battle. We'll have another look at this overtake. Vittorio Grelli really late on the brakes, does manage to squeeze up the inside, just about manages to get it slowed down before contact with Lucas Lasser. And that's up into 4th place for Vittorio Grelli. Alan Day left without much to do in the way of defence. So the gap last time through 0.4 of a second. Jean-Marc Werkely still leading. There is Alan Day driven back. You can see tyre marks on the side of that car, and he's really started to drop back already, a second behind Loris Hazelmans. So whether he's got an issue with that car or he's just been thrown out of the rhythm, he can't keep with that lead 5 cars. Jean-Marc Werkely leading ahead of Jacques Villeneuve, who is under more pressure once again from Lucas Lasser, which is allowing the leader to pull away. Vittorio Grelli under pressure from Loris Hazelmans behind, riding on board now with Nicola Rocca. He's still pushing forward, trying to get past Mark Goosens, who's stuck behind Francesco Cini. You can see now Vittorio Grelli doing what he can to ignore that rearview mirror, because Loris Hazelmans is really starting to push forward now, over halfway through the race, and it's still Marco Werkely leading ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. Jacques looking to the outside on the run up towards turn 15. He's got to be careful not to compromise his line too much, because Lucas Lasser is just sat behind there. He's the number 23 machine of Henry Tumala in the pit lane, potentially with a little bit of a problem, hopefully returning to the circuit, going out, getting a few more laps done. But Jacques Villeneuve under more pressure now from Lucas Lasser than ever, going to cross the line. Last time through, 0.4 was the gap between the top two. We'll see what it is once again. There still is Giorgio Maggi, just waiting patiently for the race to finish, and they've definitely got closer now. 0.3 of a second separating the top two. Lucas up there in 3rd place. Vittorio Grelli watching a brilliant battle in front of him, because Lucas all the way around the outside, he gave it a go but couldn't quite get the move done before turns 4 and 5 in towards turn 6. They are once again line abreast, so they won't be able to really change places now. I'd imagine Loris Hazelmans is getting rather impatient, and he is now looking to the inside of Vittorio Grelli. Are they still side by side? They were at the apex, and then all the way around the exit, Loris Hazelmans, a big flick of oversteer. Great driving from himself, great car control. Did manage to get the moment collected up, and is now driving forward once again. Jean-Marc Werkely doing what he can to work his way forward away from Jacques Villeneuve, but it's much easier said than done. Still Lucas Lasser in 3rd, Vittorio Grelli 4th, Loris Hazelmans in 5th, Alan Day falling away still in 6th place. Francesco Cini is still battling away with Mark Goosens. Nicola Rocca still battling away with the cars in front as well. The number 8 machine coming into the pit lane to Dario Casso. The race hasn't really gone his way so far. And into retirement is Dario Casso from 19th place. Federico Monti may pick up a place from that one. But now Lucas Lasser looking to the inside, almost contact with the tail end of Jacques Villeneuve. Of course, Jacques has got to be careful, because he wants to push his way forward and try and work his way past our leader. But if he compromises his line too much, Lucas Lasser is there and he will pick up that place. Vittorio Grelli sitting patient in 4th place. Loris Hazelmans doing what he can to potentially force a mistake. Alan Day in quite a lowly 6th place at the moment. The lead gap last time through 3.5. It's even closer behind. There's only about 0.2 separating Lucas Lasser and Jacques Villeneuve. Once again, they get closer as they head up towards turn 6. Jean-Marco Werkely slowly working his way forward. As soon as Lucas Lasser starts to put that pressure on Jacques Villeneuve, Jean decides it's time to go, and does really start to pull away into the distance. But Jacques Villeneuve, with his intense experience in motorsport, he knows how to just ignore that rearview mirror but still push forward, and he's doing that really, really well at the moment. Lucas Lasser still sat there in 3rd place, riding on board now with Nicola Rocca in the 22 machine, pushing forward, trying to get past Mark Goosens. You can see damage aboard the front right-hand side of Vittorio Grelli now, potentially a little bit of contact either with Loris Hazelmans or a tyre bale. Of course, tyre bales do denote the apex here at Grobnik. Over turn 14 we go, down towards turn 15. Loris Hazelmans, it looked like he had a little bit of a run up the inside, potentially not quite as quick in a straight line. Jacques Villeneuve much quicker in a straight line, has a big look on the brakes, does manage to get the car slowed down. Lucas Lasser still sat behind, but not quite as close as I expected. Loris Hazelmans does remain in 5th place, still sat behind Vittorio Grelli. Alan Day left without much to do in 6th place, and then you get quite the jump back to Francesco Cini, Mark Goosens and Nicola Rocca, who I think in the background there were going for an overtake. But crossing the line once again, onto lap 12 of the race. Jacques Villeneuve still sat there in 2nd place, Lucas Lasser in 3rd. This lead battle has started to open up a little bit, not too much pressure from anybody as it stands. Vittorio Grelli still in 4th, and Loris Hazelmans desperate to work his way on towards the podium. It's so difficult when you've got cars battling nose to tail, even more so at Grobnik, because the circuit very difficult to overtake. Lucas Lasser outbraking himself very slightly. Vittorio Garelli had a little look up the inside, couldn't quite find the move, but definitely gave it a good old look. Loris Hazelman's desperate to work his way by still. Jean-Marc Oerkeli is trying to pull away from Jacques Villeneuve, but it's really difficult when Jacques is being ushered on by 3 cars behind. Lucas Lasser, Vittorio Garelli and Loris Hazelman's. Loris Hazelman's having his own little battle with the number 50 machine in front, so they're both nose to tail. They've got to be careful because they are both Hendricks Motorsport teammates, so I'm sure that's probably why we're not seeing any aggressive moves as of yet. But they are, I'm assuming, working together, trying to pressure the trio in front to make a mistake. Can Jacques Villeneuve force a move once again in towards turn 15? Not quite as yet. He decides to take his normal line. Jean-Marc Oerkeli taking his standardised shallow line on the way in. It does seem to work for him because he can use all the track on the exit and slingshot himself back on towards the start-finish straight. So Lucas Lasser dropping back very slightly in towards the grasp of Vittorio Garelli. Looks like Loris Hazelman's has got the slight overlap there on Vittorio Garelli, almost side by side as they cross the line. The gap between the pair of them will be ever closer. Jean-Marc Oerkeli takes another lap in the book. There's traffic on the way. That will be Niccolò Gabossi just up the road. So pulls over to the left-hand side as best he can to avoid any slowing down of this lead battle. Jacques Villeneuve with a little bit of a lock-up, potentially an avoidance of that back marker, maybe unsighted for a little bit of time, but Jacques Villeneuve still in second place under pressure from Lucas Lasser. We're still seeing Vittorio Garelli and Loris Hazelman's nose to tail, no real difference between the pair of them. Alan still dropping back. Francesco Cini, Mark Goossens and Nicola Rocca still all nose to tail as they cross the line. Only, what, 3/10 of a second separating 7th to 9th, so 3 cars in the space of 3/10. Very little to pick between them, absolutely. Jean-Marc Oerkeli has built up a little bit of a gap now ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. So it's allowing him just to work away in front, riding on board now with Nicola Rocca. You can see how close Mark Goossens is up the road, and then in front of Mark Goossens you have Francesco Cini. But back to this lead battle once again. Loris Hazelman's losing a little bit of ground to Vittorio Garelli, who's set his main focus, I think, on Lucas Lasser. Has a little look one way, a little look the other. Loris Hazelman's looking to the outside of his teammate. There was a bit of an overlap on the entry. They saw themselves out on the exit. Jean-Marc Oerkeli still making the most of that little bit of a cushion that he managed to build up just a few laps ago. So heading on to lap 14 of the race now. And Jean-Marco Oerkeli still leading. Jacques Villeneuve in second, Lucas Lasser third, Vittorio Garelli fourth, Loris Hazelman's in fifth. And they're still all nose to tail. Vittorio Garelli, a big look to the inside there of Lucas Lasser, tried to force the mistake. Of course, we saw Vittorio Garelli perform a similar move on Alan Day just a few laps ago. Very late braking up the inside at turn 2. It's definitely a 17-lap sprint race, lots of action throughout this race, and more laps to go as well. A little bit of traffic in the way. The number 2 machine pulls over to the right hand side, moves out of the way, and it does continue on. So Federico Monti doing the sportsman-like thing, just making sure he gets out of the way, allows this battle to continue fighting. Through turns 6, 7 and 8 we go. Still Jean-Marco leading the way, Jacques Villeneuve in second, and Lucas Lasser, Vittorio Garelli in fourth, still with Loris Hazelman just sat in 5th place. So all the drivers pushing forward, doing what they can to make the cars in front almost make a mistake. It's so difficult to force that, however, without actually going for the move yourself. So running out of time here at Grobnik. Running out of laps indeed. You can see Vittorio Garelli making his intentions known. Had a big old look up the inside of Lucas Lasser, who in turn had a look up the inside of Jacques Villeneuve. Loris Hazelman's on the outside of his teammate, gets caught into the marbles, into the dirty part of the tarmac. A big old moment on the exit, manages to get the moment collected up and continues on, but with a lot of time lost to his teammate. Now he's got to really focus on just remaining in that top 5. Jean-Marco Oerkeli last time through 3/10 clear. It's going to be a little bit more than that, I think, when they cross the line. Yes, it is. Closing up on half a second clear by the time they cross the line between Jean-Marco Oerkeli and Jacques Villeneuve. Lucas Lasser sat there in 3rd place still. Then it's Vittorio Garelli and Loris Hazelman's. Alan Day still losing time to this lead battle, but 5 cars all battling for the final spots on the podium. Any other circuit, I'm sure we'd see lots more overtaking. It's just such a difficult circuit to overtake at Grobnik, so it's really, really tricky to work your way up through a pack of cars when they're this close together at a circuit like Automotodrom Grobnik. There is Vittorio Garelli, still sat there in 4th place, trying to force Lucas Lasser into a mistake. Another big lock-up from Jacques Villeneuve. He's been struggling with that all weekend. Of course, we saw the incident in qualifying where he locked up and went rattling through all of the gravel at turn 2. He's lost a lot of time to the leader now. Lucas Lasserre really closing up onto the tail end of Jacques Villeneuve in towards turn 15. Are they going to change places? It looks like Jacques Villeneuve is just potentially a little bit quicker, but later on the brakes is Lucas Lasserre up the inside, prizing the door open. There's contact between the pair of them, and onto the grass, onto the gravel, and spun through 180 degrees, potentially into retirement, unless he can get that moving, is Jacques Villeneuve. Can he grab a gear and get the car struck up? He does find a gear and just about manages to retake to the circuit. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that, but that is Lucas Lasserre up into second place, Vittorio Gorelli up into third, Loris Hazeman's into fourth place now. I think Alan Day will have got through as well into fifth. So there is the contact between the pair of them. It was like a lot of understeer from Lucas Lasserre. Vittorio Gorelli almost snuck his way up the inside of Lucas Lasserre as well. So unlucky there for Jacques Villeneuve. He did in fact sneak his way up the inside of Lucas Lasserre. So too did Loris Hazeman. Jean-Marco Ercoli still in the lead. Vittorio Gorelli and Loris Hazeman second and third. So Hendricks Motorsport filling out the rest of the podium, with the car racing machine still up on the top step of the podium. Lucas Lasserre for Speedhouse sat there in fourth place. Then we get back to Alan Day fifth. Jacques Villeneuve rejoined the circuit under pressure from the cars behind in sixth. Francesco Sini, Mark Goosens and Nicola Rocca all lining up behind the Academy Caffi car. But Jean-Marco Ercoli with quite a healthy lead now, across the line 1.2 seconds over Vittorio Gorelli, and I think we are on the final lap of the race now, so no real danger from behind. So the final race of the weekend, after a hard-fought battle within all but 5, fastest lap of the race from Loris Hazeman after being ushered out towards the dirty part of the circuit. He might have even recovered from what was 8th place up towards the final step on the podium. Through the final corner for the final time this weekend is Jean-Marco Ercoli, and crossing the line to round off what has been a brilliant weekend for himself. Some good points throughout. Jean-Marco Ercoli takes the win here at Grobnik for round 8 of the EuroNASCAR Pro NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Vittorio Gorelli finishes in second place, and Loris Hazeman's crosses the line after a brilliant recovery drive to finish in third place. Lucas Lasserre provisionally in fourth place. I think the stewards will have a look at his overtake on Jacques Villeneuve. Alan Day crosses the line in fifth place. Oh, what could have been, I think, for Alan Day. Didn't quite have the pace all weekend, couldn't get it hooked up. Jacques Villeneuve crosses the line in sixth, ahead of Francesco Sini, Mark Goosens and Nicola Rocca. I think potentially Jacques Villeneuve has had yet more of an issue, because Francesco Sini has inherited 6th place, Mark Goosens 7th, Nicola Rocca in 8th, and it's Roman Inetta in 9th and Sebastian Bleekie-Molen to round out your top 10. Jacques Villeneuve still yet to cross the line, so a lot of the drivers have picked up an extra place. Yevgen Sokolovsky finishes in 15th. So whereabouts is Jacques Villeneuve? Here is the overtake between Jacques Villeneuve and we're just getting some general highlights here. That's Loris Hazeman's running very, very wide, all over the gravel, and then we can see there very late on the brakes is the number 50 of Vittorio Gorelli up the inside of Alan Day, and Alan Day only really went backwards from there. It was so unlucky from himself, and that really triggered this battle up at the head of affairs. You can see just how close Lucas Lasserre and Jacques Villeneuve were fighting throughout that whole race. A big lock-up from Jacques Villeneuve heading into the latter stages of the race, which then led to this. Lucas Lasserre prizing the door open, and Jacques Villeneuve in towards the gravel, left with very little to do in the way of being able to collect that. He managed to grab a gear and continue on. Hopefully, we still haven't had him cross the line as of yet, so I'm not 100% sure what has gone on there. But that is your winner from the final race this weekend, Jean-Marco Ercoli. Very, very, very well done to Ercoli. Fifth, it is his career win number 3, so his 3rd win so far in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Very well done to Jean-Marco Ercoli. It's been a long time coming. Cal Racing have built him a very good car, and they've clearly shown that today. Once again, another massive thank you to our fabulous marshals here at Automotodrom Grobnik. We wouldn't be able to go motor racing without you, so thank you very much for your attendance this weekend. And everybody's just working their way in towards pit road, and then heading to victory lane. Of course, for the final time this weekend, we will get the victory celebrations, or the victory lane celebrations, and hopefully a couple of interviews down there in front of the podium. Maybe some interviews with Vittorio Gorelli and Lucas Lasserre, potentially if you can find one, if Hazeman's as well. But there is John Marco Ercoli. His team rush over to the cockpit, congratulating him for what was a very well-driven race. Lots of defence throughout, and he just about managed to get it to the line in first place. So there is Andre Weigold, just guiding our driver onto when he can remove himself from his car. The team all sat alongside, waiting to congratulate him on what was a very, very hard-fought race. So unlucky for Jacques Villeneuve. Did he eventually take the checkered flag? I don't think he even managed to take the checkered flag. He might have returned straight to the pit lane with damage. But John Marco Ercoli is your eventual winner, your final winner of the weekend here at Automotodrom Grobnik in Croatia, followed by Vittorio Gorelli and Loris Hazeman with that fastest lap of the race standing at 1 minute 29.500. Very well done from Loris Hazeman. I'm sure he was fueled with fire after that mistake with Alan Day, and he worked his way back up through the order to finish a brilliant third place. Lucas Lasserre, after a hard-fought battle with Jacques Villeneuve throughout the race, looked good for second and eventually finished in fourth place. So making sure everybody's ready. Out of the cockpit climbs John Marco Ercoli, steering wheel off, and celebrations with the team. Very well done, John Marco Ercoli. Career win number 3, the 4th different winner this season. So very well done to John Marco Ercoli. And after 5 drivers battling for the win, that man came out on top. John Marco Ercoli, very well done. The gap at the line just over 0.6 of a second. So very well done to John Marco, celebrating with the team, and well and truly it was a very well driven race and very well deserved as well. After all that was going on in his rearview mirror, he just focused forward, forgot about what was going on behind him, and just really started to dig deep and see what he could do about taking to the top step of the podium. Of course, we do have the trophies to celebrate as well. So the Challenger Trophy, which is the EuroNASCAR Pro-Am drivers in the professional division, that was won by Fabrizio Armetta. And we do actually, before we go anywhere, we do have an interview. Back down to you, Andre.
Gianmarco, what an awesome drive. What an awesome race for you. You had so much pressure behind you, but you stayed in first place and grabbed this win. Well deserved. How do you feel?
No, but when I am first, I'm stay soft. I haven't problem. The problem is when you are outside. No, it's very good job. Yesterday leave me the victory, but today I think is important. See the other driver who in the championship we are, and now it's finished.
So you're quite happy after this race. You had Jacques Villeneuve behind you, putting a lot of pressure on you. You had Alan Day there, you had Hazeman there. Everybody was there, but you won.
For me, the best goal was the first and second for the car racing, but the races are very difficult, and so I win. Alan, no, but fantastic job. I am very happy, and now I'm waiting only for the other race.
All right, grazie mille. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, guy. Sorry, man.
So a quick word there from our round 8 winner from EuroNASCAR Pro, John Marco Ercoli. And of course we do have the trophies to celebrate as well. The Challenger Trophy, that's for the EuroNASCAR Pro amateur drivers in the professional division. That was won by Fabrizio Armetta. Davide Dallara finished in second and Yevgen Sokolovsky finished in third. And then the Junior Trophy is for EuroNASCAR Pro drivers up to 25 years old. That was won by John Marco Ercoli, of course, our overall winner, then followed by Ulysse Delso, and then Leonardo Colavita finished in third place. So the overall and trophies covered there, and we will have the podium celebrations in just a few moments' time, potentially with a few more interviews. Hopefully we can pick up an interview with Vittorio Gorelli or Loris Hazeman, or potentially both of them as well. It would be great to hear from them. So in a few moments' time, we will hopefully get some of the interviews. And then after that, we will cover off the final results from the final race here this weekend from the NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia. And after that, we will get the podium ceremonies for the trophy giving as well. You can see all the drivers in the background congratulating each other. A very difficult race, and the team's more than happy to get everything completed. There is Vittorio Gorelli. I'm assuming we will get a quick word in with Vittorio. We'll just wait for Andre to give him a quick tap on the shoulder. There also is Loris Hazemans. And Loris, sorry for any language there if anybody's watching along, but yeah, Loris Hazemans clearly very surprised that he managed to work his way back up to the podium once again. Sorry if you heard any slightly explicit language there from Loris Hazemans. Very happy, very overjoyed with a third place finish here. And you can see Andre Weigel there stood next to Vittorio Gorelli, just rather congested, so hopefully we will be able to pick up an interview with him in just a few moments' time.
Vittorio Gorelli, second place in a chaotic and wild closing lap. It was a lot of things going around you, and you saw Villeneuve and Lasser touching, getting out of the way, and then you took second place. So what's going on there?
Yeah, I had a very good start. From P4 I went P3, but then Jack did a very good braking, a bit on the limit, because if I didn't move we would have crashed for sure. But I lost 2 positions there. So then I had the pace, but I was stopped a bit all the race from the 64. But yeah, I held on, and in the last lap I managed to pass both and got the second place, and very happy. 2 second places this weekend. We had the pace for more, but we get the points and focus on the next one. It will be always open until the last race. So keep pushing. Thanks for Team Hendrix for a very good job, and to my sponsors for the support. See you next time.
Thank you so much, grazie mille.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
A quick word there with Vittorio Gorelli, and I'm sure in a few moments' time we'll grab a word with Loris Hazemans as well, with Andre Weigel still down in the in victory lane. We've just got to try and spot out Andre working his way through the crowd, trying to grab a word with our driver, and I think Loris Hazemans is down there with you.
I'm here with Loris Hazemans, third place in a race that was a roller coaster of emotions for you, I think. So please just talk us through that one.
No, I mean, today I just simply made a stupid mistake. Turn 1, Jimmy braked way late and did a really nice overtake, I must say. I never saw it coming. I all of a sudden saw a yellow car and I was like, how did he manage to do that? So respect to him. And then I was on the outside with Alan Day. We were fighting fair, but because I picked too much pickup up, I went off myself. So that mistake for me, shouldn't have done that. But then it was a nice recovery race. So I think we did the maximum we could. We had a bit of luck and still managed to get a podium. So yeah, it's points taken. Sadly no win. I'm still really angry with myself about making the mistake, but it's part of racing. So the 2 in front of me today were better, and congratulations to them.
You will miss the next round at Zolder, and there will be some news coming up very soon. I bet we will see something on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. For sure, race fans, you should keep on looking at social media. Definitely the EuroNASCAR social media. It's looking really exciting for the future. Some really exciting plans coming up ahead. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much, man.
So a quick word there with Loris Hazemans. That's an interview with the winner, and of course second and third place as well. So we should have hopefully some final results confirmed on the way from the timekeepers. So hopefully we'll be able to bring them to you in just a few moments' time. The Husia tyres caps being distributed, so we should get those in a few moments' time. And then hopefully we do end up with the final results on the way as well before the podium ceremony. If not, we will cover the podium and then get those final results to you as well. And the teammates talking away, Vittorio Gorelli and Loris Hazemans. There is John Marco Ercole with his team, very happy with his performance so far. He's had rather good performance throughout the weekend. So too has Vittorio Gorelli, like I say, 2 second places. There is John Marco Ercole, and we will get a quick quick interview with Ulysse Delceau. Down to you, Andre.
I'm here with Ulysse Delceau. Second place in the Junior Trophy, a solid race, but how do you feel after that one?
For me, I prefer the race of yesterday, and at the start I was outside at turn 5 with Patrick Lemarrier, but he took me, I don't say that in English, but he defend, and Romain Yanetta attacked me. I was we must to work for the next meeting, because the guys in front of me, it's very quick. But this is only the result we can I have. But I'm happy to return on the podium of the Trophy Junior. But to take the victory the Trophy Junior yesterday, it was amazing for me.
Merci beaucoup and good luck for the next race.
Thank you.
Quick word there from Ulysse Delso. Of course, he was racing the 10 car today for RDV competition, and he managed to cross the line. I'll try and pick out whereabouts he did. He finished 11th place overall, so just missing out on the top 10. The gap between himself and the car in front was around about 10 seconds, so quite a long shot away, but still a good performance from Ulysse Delso. Of course, Didier Peck shares that RDV competition car. Not the best weekend from the pair of them, but still have got plenty of laps turned and a few more points up onto the standings. So the championship is only going to get closer. Jean-Marco Ercoli working his way up through the championship as well. Loris Hazeman's not quite what he was after, but once again he does continue on with more points, hopefully keeping up with that championship standing up at the head of affairs. So we will have the podium on the way in a few moments' time. We've just got a few bits going on down in Victory Lane. I think we will have another interview on the way in just a few moments' time. We will try and find Andre and figure out who he's talking to. So back down to you, Andre. Davide Dallara.
I'm here with Davide Dallara, racing for Not Only Motorsport, another podium finish in the Challenger Trophy. But you told me before that interview you're not happy. What happened in your race?
Yeah, I'm not happy because the car is not good. We don't know what happened. The team works day and night every race to make the car works. But there's something we start thinking is the chassis that is broken, and the car don't work. We have a lot of understeer in every track. Strange movements by the car. The car is really undrivable. So I do what I can. Today I had to get points, so I'm happy to get points finally after 3-0, after the big accident in Most. But I can't be happy because I couldn't drive the car. I couldn't win the Challenger Trophy today, so I'm really sad. Yesterday I had an accident because another problem of the car. So I can't be happy, but good points. The way for the Challenger Trophies is still open, so I will fight until the end.
All right, grazie mille, thank you so much, and good luck in Zolder.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you very much, Andre. And now it's time for the podium celebrations. So Loris Hazeman takes to the podium, takes to the third step as well, of course, after what was a brilliant race, very hard fought, great comeback drive to finish in third place. Second place onto the podium will be the number 50 Hendrix Motorsport machine, Vittorio Dorelli. So onto the podium goes Vittorio, and Jean-Marco Ercoli, the winner of the final race here this weekend, the NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia, Jean-Marco Ercoli. Top step of the podium he goes, and then we will have the national anthem of the winning driver.
Please listen national anthem.
A very happy chappy for the top step of the podium, Jean-Marco Ercoli. And now it's time for the podium, or the trophy presentations. So there is Alan Day holding his trophy aloft. giving the media a quick opportunity to grab a couple of photos.
Automotodrom Grobnik.
The second place trophy presented to Vittorio Gorelli. There is Vittorio, very well done. And then finally, the trophy for Gianmarco Ercoli. Very well done to Gianmarco Ercoli. Hands the trophy, holds aloft and celebrates with the team. Very happy to get the win here this weekend. And then of course we do have the award for the final award for this weekend, and that is obviously going to Hendricks Motorsport after what has been a very good weekend for Cal Racing. Pardon me. There is one of the Cal Racing affiliates. He gets his trophy, and then it's time for the media to get their opportunities, to get their photos. Very well done to Cal Racing. Dominating weekend for Hendricks Motorsport as well. They have had a very good weekend. Lots of points for the championship, both for the number 7 and the number 15 machine. So very well done to Hendricks Motorsport as well.
Thank you for picturing. Now champagne.
So now it is time for the champagne. The media move out of the way as quickly as possible, and we let the drivers celebrate what has been a very long weekend with their champagne. So congratulating each other on what was a very difficult weekend, a very wearing weekend as well for a lot of drivers. And it's nice to see everybody still has a great sense of humour come the end of quite a wearing weekend, but very well done to all of the drivers. So Gianmarco Ercoli, Vittorio Gorelli and Loris Hazemans, your podium from the 8th round of the EuroNASCAR Pro NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here from Croatia this weekend. My name is Jack Royal. I've run you through the action both yesterday and today. We had 2 very close qualifying sessions, 4 races throughout the weekend. And thank you once again very much for joining us here at Grobnik in Croatia. And from myself, Jack Royal, and everybody else here at the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and Creator TV, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
DJ Fastest Driver Award of the event. DJ Titanium Ring presented by Mr. Marco Raggi. The best of the ball.